everyone, it's Bea. Welcome to the next installment in my Supernatural Sims history series where I will be talking about zombies. Zombies are a supernatural sim type which I feel is rarely ever even mentioned, despite how it's now been a part of the Sims series for well over 2 decades at this point, being first introduced in the Sims 1 Live in Large expansion pack released in 2000. In the Sims Live in Large expansion pack, it's not just human Sims that can be transformed into zombies. Pet Sims can become zombies as well, which I think may be a first for the series since I've never heard of another supernatural Sim life state which can affect pets besides this one. That being said, the way in which a Sim can become a zombie Sim in The Sims 1 is as follows. Die. Obviously there's more to it than that, but I just thought it'd be funny, like what if I just ended the video there? So, first a Sim in your household must die. When the Grim Reaper comes to collect their soul, another member of your household can challenge the Grim Reaper to a game of rock, paper, scissors. If during this game the Grim Reaper is in a good mood that day and your Sim loses, the Grim Reaper will resurrect the dead Sim as a zombie. Unfortunately, bringing back a Sim from the dead has its drawbacks. As general zombie lore seems to go, you can bring a person back, but they won't be themselves anymore, and in The Sims 1, this is shown by having all of their personality points erased, effectively leaving them a shell of a Sim, having no personality at all. Zombies in The Sims 1 Live in Large, besides that single drawback, are basically exactly the same as a normal Sim, being able to function exactly the same as they were able to when they were alive, and retaining all of the skill points they earned during their lifetime. They also have green tinted skin, but you know, that's just a cosmetic thing. Now, if you wish to make a zombie Sim truly alive again, you're going to need a second expansion pack, The Sims Unleashed, which includes an NPC named Miss Lucille, who, for 200 simoleons, can bring a zombie back to life, which is all well and good, but be warned, this will not give them their personality back. That part is lost forever. The next iteration of zombies is in The Sims 2, which I can say more generally because zombies are introduced in The Sims 2 on 3 separate occasions. First in The Sims 2 University expansion pack from 2005, and then The Sims 2 Freetime and The Sims 2 Apartment Life expansion packs from 2008. In The Sims 2, zombies have quite a few distinct characteristics beyond just a strange skin tone as in The Sims 1. Sims 2 zombies do still have an odd skin tone, though it's more grayish blue than green. Their faces are distorted and they walk exactly how you would imagine a zombie walking when you picture one in your head. Think like Thriller music video, minus the clapping. Except for on the stairs for some reason. They can go up and down the stairs completely normally, and then they just go back to their weird shuffling once they hit the ground. And an extra little tidbit that I think is cute is that on occasion it will show that your zombie is thinking about brains, though luckily they are not able to turn anyone else into a zombie or attack anyone. In this version. We'll get back to that later, don't worry. Rather than having no personality at all, as in The Sims 1, zombies in The Sims 2 all have exactly the same personality traits, meaning that the allotted points to each bit of their personality is exactly the same for every single Sim that becomes a zombie. That sounds complicated, so I'm just gonna put it on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Zombie Sims also have no skill points, losing all of the points that they earned during their lifetime. Other downsides of being a zombie in The Sims 2 include rapidly deteriorating hygiene needs in comparison to that of a normal human Sim, an inability to have babies, which honestly, thank God, and just so you know, there's no way to have a baby or toddler zombie. Thank God. The zombie Sim's relationship with the Sim who resurrected them will also take a massive hit and never fully recover. Other Sims often show disgust at being in the presence of a zombie Sim, and on top of all of that, as if that was not bad enough, becoming a zombie in The Sims 2 is permanent and there is nothing that can be done to fix it once they've been resurrected. So really think about it before you do it. As I mentioned before, zombies in The Sims 2 were introduced on 3 separate expansion packs, and within each of these expansion packs, there are a few little differences, especially in how you become a zombie. Starting with The Sims 2 University, if you have a Sim in the paranormal career track, you can eventually obtain an item called a Resurrect Onometron. Try to say that 3 times fast. I can barely even say it once. Which does basically exactly what the name says. Sims. When using the Resurrect Onomatron, which is basically a landline phone hovering inside of a flaming skull-lined cauldron, your Sim can call up the Grim Reaper and offer to pay him to resurrect a dead Sim or pet. When you decide how much money you want to offer the Grim Reaper to resurrect your dead loved one, how much you pay determines how well the resurrection goes. These numbers are very specific, so pay attention, this will be on the quiz. For anywhere between 8,513 simoleons to 10,000 simoleons, you will get your Sim resurrected in perfect condition, exactly as they were before. For 4,128 to 8,512 simoleons, you will get your Sim back, but with some random problem like missing skill points or having their personality switch to the opposite that it was before. For 988 to 4,127 simoleons, I'm going to put these numbers in real big letters on the screen right now because these are the ones that matter. For this amount of money, you will have your Sim resurrected as a zombie. These are the zombie numbers. Remember that. There is going to be a quiz. And for anywhere between 0 and 987 simoleons, you will not get your Sim resurrected at all, and he's just going to steal your money. The moral of the story here is don't be stingy. So it's important to note that a child Sim cannot become a zombie, but a teenager Sim can become a zombie. Since Sims are stuck at whatever age they become a zombie at, you might think, oh my god, my Sim's gonna be stuck in high school forever. That sucks. But luckily that's not the case, because teen zombies can receive the Undead Educational Scholarship, which allows them to go to college and age up to young adulthood and eventually actual adulthood post-graduation despite their zombie status. So fear not, becoming a zombie young will not mean that you're stuck with a curfew and math homework forever. For the next expansion pack, The Sims 2 Freetime, you can resurrect a Sim as a zombie by asking a genie to bring the Sim back to life. If the wish succeeds, you will have your Sim resurrected in perfect condition, and if it fails, they'll be brought back as a zombie. This version is much more cut and dry than the previous version since there are really only 2 outcomes and it just relies on fate. Kind of like The Sims 1. It's mostly just fate. The final expansion pack, The Sims 2 Apartment Life, allows the Sim to cast the Vivificus zombie spell to resurrect a deceased Sim as a zombie. This sort of spell is considered to be an evil spell, requiring a magic level of 9, 2 dragon scales, 2 Eye of Newt, and 2 Viper Essence to perform. The description of the spell is from the ground, return to me in flesh and bone, dirt and debris. Give this Sim a life unfree. Bring them back as a zombie. Which is very dramatic, and I kind of love it because I think it really gets across the point that it is evil to bring someone back from the dead in a way that robs them of their humanity and forces them to continue living a life where they will no longer be able to experience joy. Hey, before I move on to the next part, do you guys remember the movie Warm Bodies from 2013? It was like a zombie romance movie, like during peak Twilight craze years. I used to love that movie and I totally just forgot about it until I was writing the script for this video. I think because I kind of just like, in the previous sentence, gave you the synopsis of the whole movie. You should watch it. It's a good movie. The next iteration of zombies in the Sims series is actually still part of The Sims 2, but exclusively for the PSP port of the game released in 2005. In this version, which is awesome by the way, there's a mini game called Smack-a-Ghoul where you basically stand in the middle of a graveyard and play whack-a-mole with zombies' heads and a shovel. It's super fun and probably one of my favorite parts of the game. I know owning a PSP these days is not really something people often do, but if you have one and you've never played The Sims 2 on it, I would seriously recommend it. It costs like $10 to pick up like a disc of it, so it's worth the cost. It's a completely different game than ports for any other console, and it's really funny and creepy and awesome, and it kind of makes me really uncomfortable. It has that weird existential Sims vibe to it. If you know what I'm talking about, you'll get it. You should play it. I promise it's good. Sorry for the little tangent. Back to business. The final iteration of zombies in the Sims series is in the Sims 3 Supernatural expansion pack released in 2012. Yes, that does in fact mean that the Sims 4 doesn't have zombie Sims at all, which luckily means I do not have to talk about The Sims 4 in this video. Woohoo! Woo! In The Sims 3, zombies have a grayish-green skin tone, black eyes, and a distorted face, and for the very first time since their introduction in the series, they are violent and will attack and bite others. That is, if they are able to catch up to them, since they still slowly shamble and shuffle their way around as they did in The Sims 2. If they do manage to catch up to another unsuspecting sim and bite them, if the sim is not any sort of supernatural sim type already, just a regular old human, they will turn them into a zombie. However, if the target is a supernatural sim, they'll do a little roar in response as if they're just like kidding around, and the bite won't turn them into a zombie. There are quite a lot of downsides to becoming a zombie in The Sims 3 and basically no upsides at all, so I really don't know why someone would choose to do this. But zombie sims in The Sims 3 cannot woohoo or have babies, and they cannot socialize at all with other sims. A zombie sim's only options for socialization are which let me try that again. A zombie sim's only options for socialization are which scares another sim, and brains, which will cause the zombie sim to try and bite someone. If for some reason, despite my warnings, you should still wish to become a zombie sim in The Sims 3, there is a long list of ways that this can be accomplished, including being bitten by a zombie, as previously mentioned, eating the brain freeze a la mode quick meal from the fridge. If you're not a zombie, comes with a 0.6% risk of becoming a zombie after eating, receiving the voodoo curse, drinking a zombification elixir, or having a witchcast reanimation ritual on the grave of a deceased sim. If you have The Sims 3 Into the Future expansion pack installed and your sim dreams of the supernatural in the dream pod bed and they end up having a nightmare, they can become a zombie. And if you have The Sims 3 Dragon Valley installed, having a black dragon curse a sim with the dragon curse can also result in the sim becoming a zombie. There's also the world's most annoying game mechanic associated with zombies in The Sims 3, which I just hate. I hate it, and I think it sucks, and I don't know why it exists. Basically, The Sims 3 Supernatural Expansion Pack introduces lunar cycles, and on a full moon, the entire screen becomes an ethereal and frankly annoyingly bright green color, and random sims around town will become zombies temporarily and teleport into your backyard, and so if you try to leave your house on a night with a full moon, there they will be in your backyard ready to chase your sim around. Luckily, there's a bit of a way around this since zombie sims can't spawn inside of fenced-in gardens. Very important that you do fence in your gardens in The Sims 3 Supernatural Expansion Pack, because if you do not, zombies will teleport into your yard and eat all of your plants, and it's super annoying. So, what you can do is fence in your whole yard, and then they can't teleport into your yard. Here's a weird little anecdote. I've been playing The Sims a lot recently because it's summertime and I have nothing better to do. And I had my sim invite over her girlfriend. And when her girlfriend showed up, it was on a full moon. And out of all the freaking NPCs in town, to turn into a zombie temporarily on that full moon, it just so happened to be her girlfriend who showed up to the house for their date as a zombie and kept trying to bite her. So I had to make her leave, and then they broke up. It was very dramatic. Here's another little fun fact. If you manage to get yourself the Sims 3 Supernatural Limited Edition expansion pack, which I used to have way back when, this version included special Plants vs. Zombies themed items, including a pea shooter, which you could place in your yard and it would shoot the zombies, which would teleport there on a full moon and stop them from eating all the plants in your garden and generally being a nuisance on your property. Also, just for fun, before I tell you how you can go about curing yourself, I'm going to quickly list all of the other random quirks Sims 3 zombies have that aren't necessarily useful to know but are just kind of funny. Zombies in The Sims 3 cannot get a suntan unless they go to the spa and use a tanning bed. They cannot ride a horse, but they can purchase a horse if they want to. They can't buy anything at a cash register. They can't go to college or on vacation, and they cannot pick out new outfits. As I mentioned before, Sims 3 zombies cannot socialize, but for some reason they are perfectly capable of chatting on the phone or chatting with a magic mirror or a holodisk if you have the Into the Future expansion pack installed. Now, if you wish to cure your zombie sim and bring them fully back to life as a normal human sim again, you have quite a few options, luckily, because being a zombie in The Sims 3 kind of sucks. Sims. You can have Bless cast on the zombie by a sim holding a voodoo doll. You can have fairy dust used on the zombie. You can have a witch cast the sunlight charm on a zombie. You can have the zombie drink a cure elixir, or if the zombie loses a battle with a pea shooter while trying to snack on the plants in someone's garden, they will be cured as well for whatever reason. They'll like fall to the ground in defeat and then wake up completely normal. I really don't know why that one's a thing, but I kind of love it. One last thing of note about zombies in The Sims 3 is that although other supernatural sim types cannot become a zombie through being bitten by one, some of them can become a zombie hybrid through other methods like the ones I mentioned before, like a zombification elixir. These supernatural sim types which can become a zombie hybrid are as follows: ghosts, vampires, genies, fairies, witches, werewolves, and plant sims. So, in case you wanted to have like a zombie fairy, you could do that if you wanted to. Again, I really don't know why anyone would want to become a zombie in The Sims 3, but the option's there. I can't tell you how to live your life. So usually this is where I talk about the massive flop of an attempt The Sims 4 has made at whatever supernatural sim type I'm talking about. But, as I mentioned before, there are no zombies in The Sims 4 despite there being many other supernatural sim types. Personally, I feel like this is probably for a couple of reasons. For one, there are really no benefits of being a zombie in any Sims game. Generally speaking, it's just kind of a big downgrade, which takes away a lot of gameplay options for the player. The second reason, I think that zombies just aren't as relevant, and that may sound kind of stupid, but hear me out. I think in the mid to late 90s, all the way up until like the early 2010s, there was a huge surge in popular media involving zombies. Think like Resident Evil, Zombieland, Lollipop Chainsaw, The Walking Dead. I think zombies and the sort of zombie apocalypse fantasy were just really relevant in pop culture at the time, which lent itself really well to the era that the first 3 Sims games came out, and didn't lend itself so well to the era that The Sims 4 came out in. Honestly, I think including them in The Sims 4 just wouldn't have been worth the effort on the part of the developers, so I really can't blame them for not putting them in The Sims 4. Alrighty. I think that just about wraps everything up for this video. Let me know down below if you were ever a big fan of zombie media back in the day. I mean, obviously I was, which is probably pretty evident by the fact that this entire channel is essentially a shrine to early Resident Evil games. Also, feel free to leave a comment down below telling me which supernatural sim type I should cover next. There are a lot of options, and I don't know which one I should do next because some of them are obviously going to be way more complicated than others. So maybe your opinions will help me figure out which would be best to do next. If you like these sorts of videos, by the way, I'm going to leave a link for my Supernatural Sims history playlist down below in the description. And just one more thing before I go. You should totally go stream the song Zombie by Everglow. It is a really good song and I love it, so I just thought I'd mention it because it's relevant to the theme of the video. Okay, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a good day or night or whatever time it is wherever you are, and I will see you all again next time.